On a life-changing blind date, a billionaire discovered an incredible secret. What unfolded will shatter his worldview and redefine love. The city glimmered under the moonlight, a stark contrast to the darker corners harboring untold stories. Alex Mercer, a self-made billionaire, stood by the elegant bar, his heart racing with anticipation. Despite the wealth that surrounded him, he felt an emptiness, a void of connection born from years of chasing success while losing touch with the roots he'd grown from. Tonight, on the urging of his sister, he was stepping into the unknown realm of dating. When Sarah walked in, all elegance with a hint of resilience, the air seemed to shift. She was a waitress with a story, a single mother tugging at the strings of her heart in every moment. Her laughter rang like a melody over the clinking of glasses, brightening the dim corners of the restaurant. As they exchanged stories, Alex felt an unfamiliar warmth blossoming in his chest. Each glimmer in her eyes told tales of struggle, of sacrifice for her son, Leo. It was touching, a reminder that life was more than just money, and he was hooked. Before long, she revealed the weight pressing down on her heart: her father, a veteran battling the shadows of his past. Alex felt the walls around his own emotions begin to crack. He missed his family as struggles. He missed feeling human. They both searched for connection, understanding each other's burdens through shared experiences that transcended their differences, whether born of privilege or hardship. But just as that electric connection was about to flourish into something deeper, Sarah's laugh faded, replaced by an uncomfortable silence. "My husband, he was your friend, Alex?" The words fell heavy between them. Cold shivers raced down his spine. Memories flooded back, whispering tales of their childhood ambitions, dreams canned by life's unfairness. Guilt twisted in his gut. He had built a fortress around his heart, and it felt wrong to enjoy the fruits of success while knowing others had been denied their chances. Fast forward a few weeks. Alex found himself planning a charity gala to uplift struggling communities nearby. The night was swathed in shimmering lights and elegant laughter, a world far removed from Sarah's reality. Just outside, voices rose, clamoring for justice, reminders of the community's pulse. When he glimpsed Sarah on the periphery, hurt in her eyes, his heart sank. She was a universe apart from the gala's glitz. As he stood caught between two worlds, Alex's mind raced. He felt the buzz of privilege, but here, just beyond the marble pillars, real lives were at stake. Would he stand strong among the elite, ignoring the cries for change? Or could he have the courage to cross that line, extend a hand? In that moment, as his gaze locked with Sarah's, he felt the weight of unexpected love pulling him towards a decision that could redefine everything. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the night's chaos swirled around them, the touch of their hands sent ripples of promise through the air. An unmarked journey lay ahead, one that would require more than love. It would demand a gaze into the mirrored truths of adversity and hope. Would Alex find the strength to shatter the barriers that once defined him, or would he retreat back to the lavish comforts of wealth, leaving Sarah and the truth behind? The choice loomed larger than life, palpable as they stood on the precipice of their potential together, unaware of the storm swirling just beyond their clasped fingers. Alex felt the tightening knot in his chest, a mix of urgency and fear. He could see it in Sarah's eyes, the pain, the longing, and the hope glimmering like a distant star. She was standing in two worlds herself, caught between the life she had and the one she yearned for. The weight of her past was heavy, but it was the light in her spirit that truly struck him. As he contemplated his next move, a flash of confusion flitted across Sarah's face. Would he step forward, risking everything he had for this woman who was tangled in memories and reality? The music from the gala pulsed behind them, but here, in this moment, the world fell away, leaving only their shared breath. Alex started, his voice barely breaking through the din of the crowd. He had to say something, to bridge the gap between them, to reach past the barriers built over years. The air was oppressive with unspoken words, and he felt urgency clawing at his insides. At that moment, Leo's laughter rang out from the street, breaking the tension. Sarah's gaze shifted towards the sound, and Alex's heart ached at the stark reminder of what was at stake. He had faced fears in his business world, but this was different. This was raw, personal, a chance not only for him but for her son too. Do you want to get out of here?" Alex blurted out, taking a step toward her. He wanted to show her a world beyond the neon lights and polished marble, a world where they could breathe and speak freely. Let us talk really talk. A moment hung palpably in the air. Sarah hesitated, a flash of doubt crossing her features. "Alex, I don't know if it's smart. This isn't just about us." "I know," he replied softly, stepping closer. "But I can't ignore the connection I feel with you. I can't pretend I didn't hear your story, didn't see your strength and all that you carry. I want to understand. I want to help." Slowly, the corners of her mouth lifted, but it was strained a bittersweet smile. "Help me? What can you really do?" "Let me show you," he said, a determination growing within him. He grabbed her hand, feeling the spark coursing through them, a testament to their shared struggles. "We can make a difference together." She looked down at their entwined fingers, a moment stretched like a rubber band about to snap. An urgent longing filled the air, filled with hope and fear. Finally, she nodded, her expression shifting as she caught a glimpse of his sincerity. "All right," she agreed, her voice steady now. "Let us go." As they stepped outside the glitzy facade of the gala, the cacophony faded behind them, replaced by the vibrant hum of the city. The night was alive with voices seeking change, and suddenly, the air felt lighter, charged with possibility. In that instant, Alex knew he had stepped into uncharted territory, far more significant than mere romance. Together they were about to face a deeper truth about love, sacrifice, and the courage of the human spirit. He took a deep breath, ready to embrace the unknown, but as they walked toward the cries for change, a figure emerged from the shadows, one belonging to Alex's past. The smile of a stranger turned familiar sent a jolt through him. What would this new presence mean for their journey ahead? His heart raced, caught between past and present, as the evening transformed from a simple act of connection into something much bigger. The figure stepped into the light, revealing a boyish face framed with tousled hair and a twinkle in his eye that still reflected mischief. It was Mark, a childhood friend Alex hadn't seen in years. No longer the awkward teenager, he had transformed into a confident man dressed sharply, the embodiment of success. But why was he here, in this moment, when Alex was on the brink of something new and fragile? "Alex! Is that really you?" Mark's excited voice sliced through the night, pulling Sarah's attention away. The warmth in his exclamation felt alien now, a reminder of another life that Alex thought he'd left behind. Alex forced a smile, trying to mask the turmoil inside. "Yeah, it's me," he managed to reply, though his heart was racing for a different reason. His eyes darted back to Sarah, who was regarding Mark with a mix of curiosity and confusion. "I didn't know you were back in town. What are the odds?" Mark continued, oblivious to the tension. "You remember the old high school days? We were inseparable." "Yeah, I remember," Alex interrupted softly, a nervous chuckle escaping him. "Things change, you know." Mark's eyes flickered to Sarah before returning to Alex. "And it looks like you've found someone special." His grin widened as he reached out for a handshake, but Alex hesitated. What was meant to be a moment of connection felt like an intrusion now. Sarah's face shifted, her uncertainty growing as she turned between the two men. We were just about to head out," Alex cut in, his voice firmer, shaking off the feeling of being pulled back into a past that no longer mattered. "Oh, come on, keep it casual." "It's great to see you," Mark said, waving his hand dismissively. "Why don't we grab a drink and catch up? I'd love to hear everything you've been up to." Alex stiffened, glancing over at Sarah, whose expression teetered between discomfort and intrigue. "Maybe another time," he replied, forcing down the irritation. "This is actually an important night for us." Mark raised an eyebrow, his enthusiasm deflating slightly. Important? Is there something I'm missing? Yes. You're missing that we're in the middle of something, Alex said, a beat too late, realizing he didn't need loud declarations. Here was Sarah. He wanted to create a private space where their bond could grow without distractions. Mark frowned, sensing the change in energy. All right, I'll let you go. Just don't be a stranger, okay? But Alex was already turning back to Sarah, who was watching him closely, a hint of something unreadable in her eyes. Are you okay? He asked, searching for reassurance. She bit her lip and glanced back at Mark, who was now stepping back into the shadows of the alley. I didn't mean to interrupt whatever. It's not your fault. He's part of a life I thought I left, Alex said bluntly, feeling unsettled. Sarah looked down, pulling her hand away. I get it. We all carry parts of our history that we wish to escape. Her voice was steady, but Alex felt a leap of apprehension. No, Sarah. That's not what this is about. You're different. You're what I want. And I'm here for you. As the last words hung in the air, Sarah's eyes flickered with uncertainty, opening a door to a vulnerability Alex had never seen before. Everything inside him screamed to embrace her fear, to bring her out of her turmoil and into his world. Do you really mean it? She asked softly. Before he could answer, the sound of sirens pierced the night, a jolting reminder of the reality they were stepping into. Alex's heartbeat quickened as he realized their moment of connection had yet to be tested. Let us go, he said, resolutely taking her hand again, ready to face whatever lay ahead. But as they turned to move, another figure loomed in the distance, one that sent a shiver crawling down Alex's spine. What if this new presence had a stake in their future? The figure approached, cloaked in shadows but unmistakable in its demeanor. As it neared, the streetlight cast an eerie glow on the newcomer, illuminating sharp features and an intense gaze. Alex's grip on Sarah tightened instinctively, his pulse quickening. This was no random passerby. Jake, Alex breathed, his voice barely a whisper. Memories rushed back like a flood, a former rival who thrived on disruption. Jake had always been ambitious, clever, and ruthless. Fancy seeing you here, Jake said, an unsettling smirk teasing his lips. There was no friendly intention behind his words, and Alex could feel the weight of his gaze bearing down on them. Great, Alex replied, his voice steely. He stepped forward, instinctively shielding Sarah. What do you want? Jake chuckled, a cold sound that filled the space between them. Just came to see what all the fuss was about. You've moved on, haven't you? Found a little paradise of your own. He looked at Sarah, his eyes glinting with mischief. Isn't she just lovely? Back off, Alex warned, a protective instinct surging through him. For the briefest moment, Sarah seemed lost, caught between the tension and the heavy layers of Alex's past. Her brow furrowed, and she opened her mouth to speak, perhaps to say that she didn't want to be a part of this confrontation. But then, she looked straight into Alex's eyes, silently encouraging him to hold his ground. What do you really want, Jake? Alex pressed, his voice firm now, refusing to let fear take over. Jake stepped closer, his voice lowering, dripping with mock sympathy. I'm just here to remind you of reality. You think you can create a life without consequences? That your past doesn't still want a seat at the table? He gestured between them, as if constructing a stage for a drama. That it won't come knocking? A chill shot through Alex. Jake's words felt tainted, designed to burrow doubts into his heart. But he couldn't let that happen, not now, not when the spark with Sarah felt so bright. You don't know anything about me or my life, he replied, backing away instinctively, yet resolutely holding on to Sarah's hand, grounding himself in her presence. A challenge flickered across Jake's features as his smirk faded. We'll see about that, won't we? Enjoy your evening. I'll be around. And with that, he slipped back into the darkness, leaving behind an unsettling silence. Alex turned to Sarah, taking a steadying breath. She was staring at him, her face a mix of concern and admiration. That was intense, she said quietly. Yeah, I'm sorry you had to see that, Alex murmured, guilt swirling within him. That's not who I am anymore, not who I want to be. But he seemed to know you well, she pointed out, her gaze piercing through him. Is he a part of your past that can really be left behind? His heart clenched at her question. Would his past always loom like a shadow, threatening to engulf what he was trying to build with her? I wouldn't let him be, he vowed, his voice tinged with urgency. I'm here for you, Sarah. That's all that matters to me. But as he looked into her eyes, he saw the flicker of doubt there again. Could he convince her of his sincerity? Could they truly move forward together when the past insisted on making an appearance? Let us get somewhere brighter, he suggested, desperate to shift the heavy atmosphere and move past the darkness that had surfaced. As they turned to leave, a faint laughter echoed behind them. Alex's heart sank as he realized that although they were moving away from Jake, the battle with his past was far from over. What if that laughter was just the beginning of something far worse? They found a small cafe that was buzzing with lively chatter, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingling with sweet pastries floating in the air. But even in this warm, inviting atmosphere, Alex could feel the chill that Jake's words had left behind. The clinking of cups and laughter around them felt distant, muffled as if they were in a separate world. I could really use a hot cocoa, Sarah said, trying to break the heavy silence. Her voice was light, attempting to cut through the tension. What about you? Sure, Alex replied absently. He scanned the cafe, half listening as she ordered. All he could think about was the unsettling feeling in the pit of his stomach. Jake's presence felt like a storm cloud hovering just out of sight, ready to unleash chaos at any moment. When Sarah returned with 2 steaming mugs, her smile was infectious. Here you go, she said, handing him a cup. You know, I'm really glad we could escape that situation. I could sense the heat between you two. What was that about? Alex took a sip, letting the warmth spread through him. It tasted comforting, much like her supportive nature. Jake, he is someone from my past. Someone who made a lot of bad choices. He couldn't shake the weight of the memories. I can't escape him. Not entirely. Her brow knitted in concern. You don't have to let him control your life, you know? You're not that person anymore. He could see the determination in her eyes, and it stirred something deep within him. I want to be better, for you, he admitted, vulnerability blanketing his words. He couldn't lose her. Not now. A sudden crash from behind them jarred him from his thoughts. A group had knocked over a table, laughter erupting as they scrambled to help. The brief chaos punctured the bubble of their serious conversation and drew a few smiles from the onlookers. See? Sarah said with a laugh, her mood lifting again. Even small disasters can turn into a good time. But just as he was settling into her infectious positivity, his phone buzzed in his pocket, shattering the moment. It was a text from an unknown number. Hesitant, he opened it. Just a reminder, Alex. I'm not done yet. Jay. His stomach dropped. The casual mirth of the cafe faded away, replaced by a somber realization. Jake wasn't just a thorn in his side, he was a harbinger of trouble, and Alex wasn't sure how far Jake would go. What's wrong? Sarah asked, noticing the tension creeping back into his expression. Just a work thing, he lied, not wanting to burden her with the dangers lurking in his past. But even as he spoke, he could see her worry deepening. Are you sure? She pressed, her concern genuine. In that moment, he recognized how much he cherished her understanding. I promise, it's nothing I can't handle. Yet his heart raced, knowing this was far from over. No matter how many times he reassured Sarah, the fear that Jake would strike again hung thick in the air like impending rain. Let us just enjoy our time right now, Alex said, trying to switch gears, but the lingering dread of what was to come shadowed each of his attempts at casual conversation. The moments they shared slipped like sand through his fingers, and he could sense the unease building within. As Sarah's laughter bubbled over the edge of a shared joke, he couldn't help but notice the stark contrast between her carefree laughter and the looming darkness of his reality. Suddenly, the door of the cafe swung open with a jingle. Through the entrance, a familiar face stepped in, his eyes sweeping the room until they locked onto Alex. It was Jake. What was he really after? The question pulsed in Alex's mind, spinning chaos around his chest. Would he unleash more than just memories? Would Jake's presence taint their fragile peace forever? As tension coiled tighter, Alex felt dread creeping in. He had to protect Sarah whatever the cost. Jake strolled in like he owned the place, a confident smirk plastered on his face. The warmth of the cafe couldn't reach Alex as he stared, panic clawing at his insides. He needed Jake to look away, to feel his presence fade. But Jake's gaze locked onto him, like a predator honing in on its prey. Alex! Jake's voice boomed. Fancy meeting you here. Sarah's smile faltered, confusion crossing her features as she glanced between Alex and Jake. Do you know him? She asked, her voice laced with apprehension. Alex's throat felt tight. Yeah, he's a friend from a long time ago. Friend? Jake laughed, but it held no friendliness. That's a stretch. We go way back. Isn't that right, Alex? Not the time, Jake, Alex managed, his heart pounding. The cafe patrons were now furtively glancing their way, the atmosphere shifting from cozy to charged with tension. Jake seemed to revel in it, taking a step closer, invading their space. You didn't tell me you had a date. Whoever she is, you could do better, he said, eyeing Sarah appraisingly. Cut it out. Alex snapped, his patience fraying. He felt a surge of protectiveness over the woman sitting across from him, a woman who deserved the light, not this shadow. Why don't we talk outside? Jake suggested mockingly, gesturing toward the door. Just a quick chat about old times. Not interested. Alex's voice was firm, but inside, he felt that familiar, gnawing fear. He was on the brink of a storm. Ignoring him, Jake leaned down slightly, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper just for Alex. Let us not pretend this isn't about you running away from your past. You think you can forget? I'm not done with you yet. What do you want? Alex asked. The question hung heavy in the air, carrying the weight of his dread. At that moment, Sarah interjected, gathering her courage. Why don't you leave him alone? He wants nothing to do with you. Jake straightened, his demeanor changing instantly. Ah, the new girlfriend. Cute. But trust me, you don't know what you're getting into. Enough. Alex barked. His voice rang out, shockwaves rippling through the cafe. He was done playing games. Jake smirked but stepped back, hands raised in mock surrender. Fine, suit yourself. He paused, leaning in closer to Alex, his tone sinister. But you'll regret it, both of you. I always get what I want. With that, Jake turned and left, the jingle of the door behind him sounding an ominous farewell. The tension lingered like smoke in the air, heavy and acrid. Sarah's eyes darted back to him, concern flooding her features. Alex, are you okay? He took a deep breath, trying to manage the whirlwind inside. I'm fine. Just unsettled. But he wasn't fine. A fresh wave of fear poured over him. He's dangerous, Sarah. I need to keep you safe. I should have told you everything. Whatever it is, we can face it together, she said, her voice steady and full of conviction. He knew she meant it, but the gravity of his past weighed heavily on him. The look on her face ignited a flicker of hope, but it was overshadowed by uncertainty. Then the truth slammed into him like a freight train. He hadn't just let Jake back in, he had dragged Sarah into this nightmare with him. As the rush of patrons distractedly laughed and chatted around them, a chilling thought settled in. Would he be able to protect her when worst came to worst? The moment hung in the balance, but Alex's heart raced, each beat drumming a sense of urgency. He had to find a way to confront Jake, to end this threat, before it escalated. Before Sarah became collateral damage. Let us get out of here, he said abruptly, standing up. We need to talk somewhere safe. Where? She asked, worry creeping into her tone. I'll figure it out. Just trust me. Their eyes locked, and he saw her trust, but he could feel his own doubts clawing at his chest. As they exited the cafe, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that Jake was just the beginning of their problems. What would Jake do next? This time, Alex had to be ready. The evening air was cold as Alex and Sarah stepped onto the sidewalk, the bustling sounds of the cafe fading behind them. Each breath felt sharp, the world around Alex narrowing to a tunnel of his own anxiety. He had to shake off Jake's words, but they clung to him like a shadow, lurking and threatening. "Let's south go to my place," Alex suggested, urgency spilling from every syllable. He couldn't risk being followed or overheard. "I have a few things to explain." Sarah nodded, eyes wide, a flicker of worry dancing across her features. "Is it really that serious?" This guy, he seemed off. "Off doesn't he cover it," Alex replied, shaking his head as he led her down the street. "Jake doesn't he do anything halfway. He's unpredictable." They walked in silence, the chill creeping through Alex's jacket. Images of his past swirled in his mind, times spent with Jake, the laughter that masked the darkness, moments he thought he had buried. The truth was a rotten fruit, and now it was ripe enough to spill out. As they reached his apartment building, his heart soared and sank simultaneously. Could he let Sarah in on everything? What would he do if she turned away in fear? Once inside, he quickly locked the door, shoving away the gnawing worry that maybe he was already too late. "Sit down," he instructed, and watched as she settled on the couch, fidgeting with her fingers. There was no easy way to start. "Alex," she prompted, concern lacing her tone. "You're scaring me. Just tell me what's going on." He took a deep breath, steeling himself. "Jake and I were friends at first. But I don't want to call him a friend now. He dragged me into a world I didn't want to be in. There were things we did, things I regret. When I tried to break away, he didn't let me go." "Like what?" Sarah pressed, her voice a mixture of curiosity and fear. "It was about money, deals that got messy. I got involved with people I shouldn't have," he admitted, the words feeling like lead on his tongue. "Jake didn't care about the consequences. He thrived on chaos. And I thought I could handle it, but I couldn't. Not then. And not now." "You mean he's after you?" Sarah's eyes widened, realization dawning. "No," Alex said quickly, realizing the panic in her voice. "He's after both of us. This isn't just about me anymore." A tense silence settled between them as his words sunk in, creating an invisible barrier filled with unspoken fears. Alex could practically feel the weight of Jake's malicious laughter behind every word he had said earlier at the cafe. "What do we do?" she finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper, like she feared the answer would shatter them. "We prepare," Alex said, his tone hardening as determination replaced panic. "We find out whatever we can about him, and we make a plan. For the first time, I won't let him control me. It's time to confront my past." He glanced at her, seeing the flicker of admiration in her eyes, the respect that encouraged him. Suddenly, he felt emboldened. If they stood together, maybe, just maybe, they could face this. "Tomorrow, I'll reach out to some people who might know what Jake's up to. But I need you to promise me something," he said, leaning closer. "If anything seems off, if you feel scared, just walk away. Don't let this get to you." Sarah's expression softened. "You're not going to get rid of me that easily, you know? I'm in this with you." Her unwavering spirit fueled him, igniting a spark of hope in his heart. But as he leaned back on the couch, looking out at the city through the window, unease washed over him. Jake wouldn't let this go easily. What did Jake have planned next? And would their fight be enough to keep Sarah safe? The next morning came too soon, the gray light filtering through the curtains like a whispered reminder of their impending confrontation. Alex rubbed the sleep from his eyes, the weight of the world clinging to him as he rose. He glanced over at Sarah, still asleep on the couch, her peaceful expression a fleeting comfort against the chaos that loomed. He tiptoed to the kitchen, the soft creak of the floorboards echoing his racing thoughts. There was little he could make to help settle his nerves. He poured himself a cup of black coffee, the steam curling up towards the ceiling like a ghost of his past. As he sipped, thoughts of Jake invaded. What would he do? How could he protect Sarah without putting her in danger? Each scenario he envisioned was grimmer than the last, but he refused to let the fear cripple him. Instead, he found strength in Sarah's presence. She was there, ready to face this alongside him, and that made all the difference. Sarah stirred, and he turned. "Hey, sleep well?" "Like a rock," she said, stretching and yawning. Her hair tousled, eyes still drowsy, but there was a spark of determination already ignited in her expression. "What's the plan?" Alex placed his mug down. "I'll reach out to Eric, a guy I know from those days. He might have intel on Jake's movements. But I want us to be careful. Whatever happens, we'll handle it together." "Good," she replied, her voice steady. "Let us do this." They spent the next hour hatching their plan. Alex went over the steps contacting Eric, gathering what materials they knew about Jake, and creating an escape route if things got dangerous. It felt empowering to have Sarah at his side, sharing the load, but doubts crept in. Was he putting her at risk by involving her too deeply? As the afternoon advanced, Alex sent a text to Eric, the anticipation buzzing in his stomach. Minutes felt like hours. The living room was charged with an uneasy energy. Sarah busied herself organizing the scattered papers and notes that caked the table from Alex's old, troubled days. Finally, his phone buzzed, the vibration startling him. It was Eric. "Meet me tonight. 8 p.m. at the old diner on Riverside. Make it quick. We need to be cautious," the message read. Alex's heart raced. He shared the news with Sarah, who nodded but wanted more details. "Just be careful when we go out. We don't know who could be watching," she cautioned. "Right." Alex swallowed hard. "But I can't hide forever. I need to put this to rest." As the evening approached, they readied themselves. An air of seriousness settled over them. Sarah dressed in sleek black attire that somehow made her look both fierce and alluring at the same time. Alex couldn't help but admire her strength. "Are you ready?" he asked, glancing in the mirror one last time, adjusting his collar. He was determined to face Jake, to reclaim his life. "Ready as I'll ever be," Sarah answered, a small smile breaking through her worry. With confidence building within him, Alex took her hand. "Let us go." They stepped out into the night, the city buzzing with life, unaware of the storm brewing ahead. Each step felt heavy, laden with the gravity of what they were about to face. As they approached the diner, a figure emerged from the shadows, an unsettling reminder that Jake's South influence loomed close. Alex's heart drummed loudly in his chest. "Are you okay?" he whispered to Sarah, their eyes locking in silent agreement. But as they walked inside, the air shifted, tension rising as they caught the scent of betrayal and danger. They hadn't come just to meet a friend tonight, was about confrontation. When they reached the booth, Eric was sipping coffee, his expression wary yet searching. "You two should be stayed away," he said quietly, the shadow of a warning hanging over his words. Alex felt his stomach drop. What had they just walked into? What had Jake done now? "Tell me everything," he urged, bracing himself for a reality he wasn't sure he could handle. And just then, the bell over the diner door chimed ominously, and in walked someone they never expected to see. Alex's breath caught in his throat at the sight. There, framed in the doorway, stood Mia, Jake's sister, and a ghost from his past. She had always been a fierce protector, fiercely loyal to her brother. Her presence sent icy tendrils of fear winding around his heart. This was not just a chance encounter. It was a message, a warning. Sarah squeezed his hand, her grip tightening with unease. "What is she doing here?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know," Alex replied, his mind racing. Could she be working with Jake? Would she warn him of their plans? The questions churned like a storm inside him. Mia's gaze swept across the diner, catching Alex's eyes for a split second before she composed herself and approached their booth. There was something unsettling in her stride. She moved with a calmness that belied the storm brewing beneath. "Alex," she said, her voice cool, almost too friendly. "It's been a while." "Yeah," he managed. "What do you want?" She slid into the booth opposite him, fixing him with a calculating stare. "I came to warn you. Jake isn't just hunting for you. He's looking to hurt anyone close to you." "Why would you care?" Sarah shot back, Every bit the fierce ally Alex knew her to be. Mia sighed, glancing toward the window as if expecting something or someone. Because, Sarah, despite everything, we're family. Blood doesn't just wash away. And right now, Jake is planning something that goes far beyond personal grudges. Every word felt like a razor's edge, and Alex felt a flicker of disbelief. Could Mia truly want to help? Or was this another part of Jake's cruel game? Why don't you just go to him? Alex demanded. You know how he operates. What makes you think we'll trust you? Mia leaned closer, her voice lowering. Because he's not the same Jake you remember. He's darker, reckless. This isn't just about you anymore. He's in a deep mess, and there are people out there who mean business. The weight of her words pressed heavily on Alex's heart. A truth he wasn't ready to accept seeped into his reality. What do you know about those people? Enough to know that they work under cover of darkness, and would cut down anything or anyone who gets in their way. Mia's eyes softened momentarily, revealing her own fears. You both need to leave town. Tonight. It's not safe. Just then, the door swung open again, and another figure stepped through. This time, it was a man dressed in black leather, a predatory glint in his eye. Alex's instincts flared. Danger was closing in. The diner felt suddenly small, the chatter around them fading into an ominous background hum. What now? Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. Mia shifted in her seat, her calm facade cracking. You need to go. Now. But before they could make a move, the man strode purposefully toward them, an unsettling grin spreading across his face. Well, what do we have here? He said, his voice dripping with malice. Alex felt his heart explode with adrenaline as everything spiraled. Mia was right, but trusting her felt impossible. The suffocating tension filled the air around them. He had to act fast. We need a plan, Alex said, looking at the faces in the booth, his resolve hardening. But was his plan enough? With every second ticking away, it became clear that the true confrontation was only just beginning. As the stranger leaned closer, Alex realized that lives hung in the balance. They had to choose fight or flee. But whatever choice they made would change everything. The urgency in the diner escalated, a yearning need to escape crushing against the claustrophobic tension. Alex felt his heart pounding against the walls of his chest, desire and fear contending for dominance. He locked eyes with Sarah, her fierce determination casting a light in the darkness. They were two souls standing at a precipice, ready to jump into the unknown together. Stay close, Alex whispered, gripping Sarah's hand tighter. Mia's warning echoed in his mind, her words laced with urgency. They needed to act. The man in leather prowled closer, a predatory grin curving his lips as he assessed them. You're in quite the predicament, aren't you? His voice was like ice, each word cutting through the murmurings of the diner. Who are you? Alex demanded, attempting to rally his waning courage. And what do you want? The man leaned onto the table, the air thick with menace. Just a friendly reminder that loyalty can be a liability, he said, casting a pointed glance at Mia. Jake wants you to remember who you owe. Panic flickered in Sarah's eyes, but heat of determination ignited in Alex. This was not how his life was meant to go, pulled back into a web of darkness. We're not afraid of you, he said, trying to sound braver than he felt. Oh, but you should be, the man laughed coldly. It's not me you should fear. Alex felt Sarah's hand tremble in his grip, and deep within, a roar of protectiveness shifted into a visceral need to shield her from this chaos. He could feel the storm inside him rising, every lesson he'd learned about resilience surfacing. You'll have to go through us first, he declared, every word a vow. Mia looked at Alex with wide eyes, disbelief painted across her features. What are you doing? She hissed, urgency raising her tone. We can't win a fight here. A chaotic clamor erupted in the diner. Patrons were caught in the drama, glasses clinking, whispers rising. We need to move, Alex insisted, locking eyes with Sarah. Now, Mia urged, her voice filled with conviction. There's a back exit. I'll guide you. Trust me. In that moment, The man's expression shifted, now a wicked grin, recognition dawning. Running away won't save you. Watch us, Alex fired back. Together, they surged out of the booth, adrenaline surging. Alex pulled Sarah along, heart racing, knowing there lay a path ahead that demanded his every ounce of strength. Mia led them through the bustling diner, urgency thrumming in her steps. He could hear the man barking behind them, his frustration echoing like a sinister melody. But fear pushed him forward. Past the cafe's main seating area, they ducked into a narrow corridor, shadows engulfing them. They reached a door that led to an alley. This way, Mia snapped, ushering them outside. This wasn't Alex's life anymore. This was something different, complicated, chaotic, but bursting with potential. The cold air hit him like a wave, the city alive with sounds. Alex's pulse quickened. We're not safe yet, Sarah whispered, looking back toward the diner. It's just ahead, Mia said, glancing nervously down the alley. We need to split up. No, Alex countered, resolutely shaking his head. We stay together. That's the only way. He took a steadying breath, feeling the warmth of Sarah beside him, the strength of their unity becoming his armor. Mia frowned. You don't understand. If they catch me, then we'll face it together, he affirmed. We've already come too far. Sarah squeezed his hand, her spirit bolstering him further. I trust you, Alex. Let us do this. Just in that moment, a sudden commotion echoed through the alley, the sound of footsteps racing towards them. Adrenaline surged through every vein in his body, the urgency flooding him anew. Now! He commanded, leading them further into the shadows. They fled down the narrow alley, propelled by a sense of survival. Alex glanced behind to see two figures emerging from the diner. Jake's men were hot on their trail, the hunt beginning anew. Suddenly, Mia skidded to a halt in front of a black SUV parked in the shadows. Get in! Hurry! They climbed into the back seat, the weight of urgency pressing down hard. Drive! Mia shouted at the driver, her hands trembling. Alex caught a glimpse of determination in her eyes, and hope flickered in his chest. As they sped away, the city lights flickering past, it felt like a line had been drawn behind them. He looked at Sarah. Her expression was a mix of fear and courage, woven together like a tapestry of unwavering support. We're okay, he assured, though doubt trembled in his heart. We've got this. Mia twisted in her seat, her voice serious. We need to figure out Jake's next move before he finds us. Alex nodded, resolve solidifying within him. It was time to take a stand against the terrors of his past. He would protect Sarah with every breath in his body. They wouldn't just run, they would fight with love, resilience, and the strength of their bond. The road ahead was uncertain. But under the shadows of doubt, hope glimmered brighter than ever. Their story was not about fear, but about transformation, a redefining moment that would forever shape their lives. And so, they moved forward, ready to face the storms together, hands clasped and hearts intertwined. Now is the moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. You absolutely need to do this. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Only true fans understand how important it is to support the channel through these actions.